right, everybody, we are back. Can't wait to get into today's second Cabral house call of the weekend. Just going to open up that document right now for us. I'd love to be able to, as you know, dive right into the questions that we get each and every week at stephencabral.com/askcabral. These could be on all things health and wellness, weight loss, weight gain, anti-aging, high performance health. If you don't know what high performance health is, we actually got a couple questions on that. That is essentially when you've achieved a lot of your weight loss and wellness-based goals, you may be asking yourself, what is next? What can I work on that's going to take my energy, my vitality, my longevity to the next level? That's what high performance health is. It's looking at not your average blood work, your average at-home lab test, your average maybe strength-based numbers. It's saying, what more can I do to take this body and mind to the next level? So you can check out all the details at highperformancehealth.org. Check it all out, see if it's the right fit for you, but this is something that is exploding. And of course, I would love to have you as part of that HPH community. All right, let's dive right into today's show. First question is from Michael. And if you want to follow along, it's at stephencabral.com/3271. That's today's show. All right, so let's see what Michael has to say. Michael says, hello, Dr. Bral. Thank you for all the information you share on a daily basis. It's very helpful to many people. My question is regarding shipping labs to Washington State. We used to be able to order labs through Equalife to the state of Washington, but over the last year or so, we've been unable to receive labs. A while ago, I heard you briefly mention the issue is due to state changes regarding labeling, I believe. I'm wondering if there is a timeline to a time we can start to have labs shipped back to Washington. Is there someone we should be contacting to share how important at-home labs are? Thank you for answering my question. Michael, it's a great question. It's kind of like the same thing for shipping overseas. So people we ship all over the world, but let's say people in, Australia or wherever, they might be like, why is it so expensive to ship overseas? It's a different issue than Washington, which I'll get to, but I'll say it's the same exact price, meaning like it's the same price of our products. We ship this, we don't charge anymore. Of course, that's not something we would ever do. We probably have the lowest margins out of any company because we are always trying to put people before profits. So we literally invest every dollar. Equalife invests every dollar back into the company. No money is taken out of the company, just so you know that. And again, I don't have to say that, but I want people to know this is a company dedicated to research, state-of-the-art, health and healing. And it's what I would have wanted when I was 17 years old. And that's the company that I try to create. I try to do right by people. So here's the thing. When you ship overseas, there is the country's import tax. So they tax their people to import these products. That's the charge that they put on their own people. That's what the government does. Okay. Then there's the actual shipping. The shipping doesn't cost a penny more. So we have state-of-the-art shipping and logistics, which means we just tie in the exact size of the box and the exact weight at time of shipping because we already know all of those things. We've been Equalife's been around now for I think 7 years. So we've got a lot of data on that, and we've been shipping Australia forever. Again, this could go for any one of the 27 countries. And so all you're seeing are basically just the charges that the country enforces. Well, here's the thing. In the state of New York, for over 30 years, they haven't allowed at-home lab testing. So that's the state of New York. We, of course, would love to ship at-home labs to the state of New York. New York State just does not allow that. Okay, what's going on with Washington State? Well, a year ago, like you stated, Washington said, we are going to allow attorneys, not even the state, to enforce in a gray area law that based on health coaching and information and sharing basically of information. Now, of course, all the difference with Equalife-based labs is that no information is shared. It goes basically, you order from Equalife, you get a lab shipped to you from Equalife. It's run at a third-party facility, which is a CLIA lab certified. So there's only like a half dozen real CLIA certified labs. We use one of the half dozen, but they don't do any coaching. They don't do anything. They're the ones to verify the numbers, which I love because like you can't, a company, I hope that no one would ever do this. They could change the numbers based on things in order to be able to manipulate that, maybe for their own good. That wouldn't be a good thing, right? So we keep ours all third party, of course. Then the information comes back to your provider because these labs don't have providers, right? And so that's it. So it's you, third party lab, and Equalife. And Equalife then walks you through the different coaching. And so it's great. Everybody's kept and held accountable and no information is shared with anyone else anywhere. Okay. Well, Washington basically says, we are going to be the ones to decide if this is violating any of our residents' privacy policies. And since they haven't clearly defined what you can do and what you can't do, what they do is they just go around. They did this in California with the Prop 65. They just go around and start suing people legitimately. And a lot of businesses they know can't afford to go to court and spend $250,000 to $1 million to defend themselves. So they end up settling with all these companies for like $50,000, $100,000 or so rather than $1 million. It's crazy. It's a crazy, crazy business. It's awful. It's like what ruins. It's what just gives a bad name to almost every different field, because obviously there's so many great attorneys, but the ones who do this it's just not good. That's all. So once we get clearly defined laws of what you can do and can't do in Washington State, unfortunately, they're just going to come after our company like ours. They just are. And so it's just too bad, because what does it hurt? It hurts the people of Washington, right? So IHPs can still practice in Washington. They just they work with people out of state, right? Because right now Washington is a gray area. All right. Hopefully, I mean, it's not helpful. So I'm sorry, Michael. I wish that it was. Trust me. Like, of course, I want to be able to help people in the state of Washington. And you can still get all the protocols. You can still do everything. You just can't, get and all that done there. That's all. Like, meaning like as a person. So, okay. Diana's up next. But whenever that, so I could spend a whole show in this because it makes my blood boil. But it brings out the pitta in me in Ayurveda. But when that changes, of course, we'll be the first ones to be right back there. All right, Diana's up next. Hi, Dr. Brawl. I had an issue with mold toxicity for years after growing up and living in a very moldy house. I finally tested negative for mold after working with the functional medicine doctor. We started working on heavy metal toxicity directly after, which included taking DMSA, and I felt worse. We retested for mold, and my results were once again sky high. The only explanation is that DMSA promoted the release of mold toxins my body was holding onto. I know this is my body trying to protect me, but how do I get my body to stop holding onto mold toxicity so I can finally heal? It's a chicken and egg scenario. My body won't release the toxins because it's under too much stress, but my body is under stress because of mold toxicity. Thanks for all you do, Diana. I totally understand where you're coming from. So right now in the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute, I just started teaching level 3. And that's meaning level 3 is the highest level of any health coaching certification, because you're learning the most advanced labs, and one of those is the mold toxicity lab. So as I'm teaching this, I plan to do more podcasts around this too, because mold is one of those things that it's a stealth pathogen. And if you haven't heard me talk about that, please do check out that show at stephencabral.com/podcasts. And if you ever can't find the show, like a show on stealth pathogens, just ask. It's totally free. You can ask at cabralsupportgroup.com. We'll find it for you. So here's the thing though, mold and its metabolites, which are mycotoxins essentially, are fat soluble. And so when you look at this, it's really important to understand that they can hide, and again, we call it hiding. People are like, oh, well, that sounds kind of, I don't know, hypey or whatever. It's not. This can happen whenever someone loses weight or they go through a detox, is that this can begin to be mobilized. So DMSA is very strong. We typically don't use it in our practice. I have no problem if people choose to use it. We don't like to force things out of the body as strongly, but there's a time and place for everything. So I totally get it using EDTA or DMSA. They work. It's not that they don't. So I'm not discounting that. Okay. So what do we need to do though, right? Because we want to get the help. So on a daily basis, we need to be doing something like the daily detox support. I definitely recommend the 21-day functional medicine detox by Equilife. But then after that, you can just use the daily detox support. And then I can't recommend enough near daily sauna. So 20 to 30 minutes at a high heat with infrared sauna as many days a week as possible, at least 5. And then, of course, getting good quality sleep, taking the daily foundational protocol, level 2 or level 3, and then boosting your immune system. When a lot of people go through mold protocols, they don't boost their immune system. And you have to understand is that mold, which then releases these metabolites, essentially creates these metabolites called mycotoxins, are immunosuppressive. And in the long term, they can have quite detrimental effects on the human body. So I can't recommend enough boosting the immune system. So it's basically daily foundational protocol level 2. And then you can use full spectrum vitamin C or alkalizing vitamin C. Most people use Hispro because there's also quercetin in it, which helps with the histamines. Then they use vitamin D and they use zinc. So that's like the very first starting point, and that's what I recommend. But I mean, it sounds like you have a great doctor, which is amazing. There's nothing wrong with also working with an integrative health practitioner, an equal life coach, whatever works for you. But that's kind of where I'm going. Or of course, you can really get in depth and you can take all of this education at integrativehealthpractitioner.org. However, we can help, let us know, but this is a complicated thing. So we want to make sure we walk you through this step by step, because you absolutely can heal. And we just need to make sure that we continue to mobilize this out of the body for months to come. Okay. And again, there's so much I could go into, because leaky gut, if you haven't fixed your leaky gut, that exacerbates this. So there's so many things around this. All right, Dave's up next. Hello, I bought the TheraOzone module. That's on me, Dave. Sorry about that. And I'm wondering the benefits of having this run while I'm in this sauna, office, or car. A mold inspector came to the house and said that running Ozone on the ear doctor was terrible for the lungs and health in general. Is that true? Is the ozone on the ear doctor the same as the TheraOzone module? Are there different levels to ozone therapy? Thanks in advance. Yes. So this is, it's a nuanced question. So ozone can be really great for you in the environment. And after a lightning storm, thunderstorm, all those things, there's more, ozone and all that. But let's just kind of go through what it is. So when we're looking at it, we're essentially creating extra oxygen molecules. And so when we look at that, we want to say, why is this good? And so the reason we ask that is that, why would someone use ozone in the first place, right? So essentially what you're doing is, instead of oxygen as like O2, it's represented as O3. So there's an extra oxygen atom. And so when we use that, we say, okay, what this is going to do is it's going to lend itself now to picking up a pathogen, bacteria, virus, et cetera, or fragrances in the air, volatile organic compounds, et cetera. So when you release ozone, it helps to purify and clean the air. But what happens when it's already picked up everything that it needs to pick up? All the scents, all the smoke, all the everything in the air, right? Well, then that extra ozone could be absorbed by you. Okay, initially, not necessarily a bad thing. That extra O3, right, can begin to then lend itself to free radicals in the body. But when there's too much ozone, yes, it acts as an irritant and is harmful potentially for your lungs, just as the inspector said. So like with everything, so this is the problem with like social media. When social media came around, everything is like a yes or a no. Everything's black and white, and it's just not that way in health. It's just not. And so, when we put ozone as a bubbler, like I do for a cold plunge, or we put in our produce, it helps kill all the bacteria and parasites and all those things. But if you use too much ozone, only if you're exposed to it, then there is breakdown. But I shouldn't even say that. If you expose food to too much ozone too, well then yes, it will become oxidative. It will become corrosive. And so we have to be careful with that. So anything that's good can also be bad. So I would say to you is, when we don't run ozone in my house, we use the ozone on the ear doctor, because we have a million ear doctors now, because I've been using them for, not a million, but you know what I'm saying. How long have I been using ear doctors? I mean, like for forever. I don't even know how long it's been. It's been a long time, over a decade. And so what I can tell you is this, is that we run it if, let's say, the big exhaust fan goes on in the kitchen, there's smoke, or there's anything like that. Okay, we'll click it on and we just run it for how long? 10 minutes, 20 minutes. That's about it. I did use an ozone generator though for like 3 days straight when I was rented an apartment back in the day. I've been using air filters since the early 2000s, like 2001 or so. And that's because I had terrible allergies back in the day. So I ran it because I rented an apartment and the whole place smelled like smoke. And so I moved it from room to room. It took the smoke right out of the walls and the wallpaper and all that. It was unbelievable. So again, time and place for everything. Hopefully that was helpful. And yes, you can use ozone for short periods of time. All right. Again, I now have to give you my disclaimer. I can't provide any medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical cures, or medical diagnosis, but you know that. All right. Marler's up next. Good day, Dr. Rawl. I've had a very itchy rash on my back since July. It was recently diagnosed as Grover's disease. The solution given was a topical steroid ointment, which doesn't really help. I'm going crazy with the constant itching. Any suggestions would be appreciated. I'm planning the detox after the new year. Best regards, Marla. All right. Well, of course, now we're in the new year, so I hope that goes well for you. I have no doubt that it will. We literally I'm just finishing mine right now as I'm recording this, and we probably had 10,000 plus people do it from around the world. So it's pretty amazing. So anybody who's not familiar with all of these things, if you're a new listener, you can just go to stephencabral.com/shop. It's not really a shop. It takes you over to my functional medicine practice, and that's called EcoLife. And you can see all the protocols, the functional medicine detox, the lab test, the mold toxicity protocol. We were just chatting with who earlier? Was it Diana? Yes, about was that mold? So we've got a mold toxicity protocol, all sorts of things that you can check out. All right, now back to you, Marla. So Grover's disease. Grover's disease, though, is really one of these things like IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. It's like all it is descriptive. I know Grover's isn't descriptive, but like Grover's is just someone's name. I'm sure it was a doctor or someone that came up with this. You'd be like, oh, red bumps, rash on the skin. I'm going to name it after myself. But it's idiopathic. They don't even know how it's there. It's a nothing disease, meaning like it's not nothing that you don't have it. You do, but labeling Grover's disease is not helpful, like in any way, shape, or form. All right. So it could be food sensitivities, could be, which I've seen before, dairy or egg. So I've seen that many times. I've seen it with gluten. I've seen it with soy. So it's possible. It can be a histamine reaction. It actually can be for people that got dermatitis. So like reaction to a new fabric softener or bed sheets that somebody was washed in, like literally so many things. They traveled, they went to a hotel and it was washed in something different. So there is always an underlying root cause. And with Grover's disease, we're trying to look at, is it gut-based? Is it environmental? Is it histamine-based? What's causing the buildup in the body? What's causing this reaction on the skin or from within and then moving to without? All right, Marla? So like, let's look at that. And of course, if you want to run, if it's gut-based, I would definitely run what's called the Big Three, the gut bundle, which is at stephencabral.com/shop. That'll give you your food sensitivities, if it's bacterial, H. pylori, or if it's yeast fungal-based. All right? All right, we're going to keep it at that for today. That is my time. I'll absolutely get back to doing our 5 to 6 every single weekend. I spent a little bit more time on these, but I think it's really important. I want to make sure that everybody gets their question answered. Many people obviously wait many weeks to get their question answered. So it's my goal to just give you that next point to jump off of and to be able to go deeper on your own health. So thank you so much. It's going to be an amazing year here on the Cabral Concept and as part of this global health community. So thank you so much for being a part of it. Appreciate you. Talk with you tomorrow on a brand new Mindset and Motivation Monday. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.